Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for FLR. Now, I went and made sure I had all the price history on this from CoinMarketCap. The only difference I notice between the two charts is which peak is higher, this one or this one. But it doesn't really matter because this is going to be a very tough count either way, this move to the downside. It makes it difficult to track a coin when you don't know where your beginning is. Because Elliott Wave works on previous history to project future moves, right? Especially when we get three-wave patterns like this. Very difficult. One thing I will say is in new markets, new projects, we either break to new highs, like we attempted to here, and we break above and then consolidate at or above the previous all-time high, or we just wick through and then reject hard. And to me, this appears like we're rejecting hard. Now, I'll show you another example. If you remember this one from back in the, this one from earlier in the year. This was Manta. You can see same thing. We came up in a diagonal. I remember we took that short and we're trying to see if we're gonna break out to the upside. And then it ended up peeking through into price discovery and then just absolutely collapsing. We're talking about a drop of 80%, right? Peak through, reject to the downside. And this was also in a three-wave move. So my question to you is, can the same thing happen here? It's not for me to say, right? It appears very similar. I've seen this play out, you know, multiple times with new project releases. It peaks through that all-time high, rejects, and just keeps going down. Now, Manta's been going for a while. I am looking for a pivot there, you can see, but it's respecting our pitchfork. And until I get a completed count, I am not interested in that. Now, if I shrink this and compare, I always talk about I focus more on shape than anything. Count is just to verify. You can see the similarities, right? Okay, so knowing that, I'll put on my count. I don't know where to start this count from. This does look impulsive to the downside. I don't know if this is a C wave at the end of a correction or a C wave and like a W wave and this is a three-wave move up. It's impossible to know, right? So we have to focus on fib levels. Last video, we had this pitchfork on, and this was our last chance to recover and make a diagonal, if you remember, in my point of view. So this looks like a completed three-wave move, double zigzag WXY. We rejected from price discovery, and we've just been drifting sideways. I'll compare it again with Manta. Take a look at FLR. Take a look at Manta from the high. We had a three-wave move, correction, drifted sideways for a while, came down. Three-wave move, correction, drifted sideways for a while, and now we're still coming down. You can see the similarities. So the question is our next move really deep? Not sure, but it's respecting our pitchfork as well. Exact same pitchfork as Manta. I'm just showing you how you can use these tools. You don't necessarily need to know the exact count. But you just have to pay attention. Put this shape in your memory bank when you see a new project. Are we peaking through price discovery and rejecting? Or are we making it above and consolidating above or at? That's what we want in a nice five-wave pattern to really get those huge returns. And I also had this box. I wanted this to hold. Previous resistance as support. It failed through. So right now we're past the 1-to-1 in time of this move here. I just have that laid out for you. Have a WXY. And the way I have this labeled now, again, it's just garbage. As you can see, it's all three-wave patterns. I have ABC for a W in the bullish scenario. This is just the bullish scenario. W, X, Y. ABC, X for a flat, and we're working on our C wave, our 1-to-1 extension. Sorry, that's got to go right here. That's off by one pivot. Okay. Our 1-to-1 extensions at 1.505 cents. We don't have to get there. We're already past the 618. I do have this as an AB completing a C, so it can technically be done here. But I'm not interested in it until I see a 5-wave move or a break of a level, like the B wave in a nice 5-wave pattern. Now, if I see a 5-wave pattern and a nice pullback, I might be interested at that point. Because one other thing I want to mention, I'm going to do an update on it soon, but XRP, this is obviously an airdrop from XRP, right? From my understanding. So perhaps it is taking the same shape as XRP. I'm not sure. It hasn't been around long enough to see if they go together, kind of move together. Because if that's the case, this could actually be part of a larger triangle. And we actually do break to the upside, right? So it's going to be difficult to tell. But if I see a 5-wave move up, I will probably take it. And I'll update the video at that point. But the fact that it could move like XRP, there is merit to trying to get the long, just based on that factor in my point of view. So if that's the case, we're getting pretty close on XRP. I'll make a video on that shortly, but perhaps we just come a little bit and then we start a new move, right? If that's the case, we have to start our Elliott wave count from down here, wherever it pivots. If this is like a CDE, right, based on where it is versus XRP, this could all be part of a triangle that doesn't even exist in past history for our price chart, right? Anyways, just throwing that out there as an option. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this end up being just dragging out similar to Manta, and we just get 3-wave patterns for quite a long time to new lows. But yeah, I'm literally just waiting to see a pivot, to see what happens. And in the bullish scenario, if it's not a triangle, all this would end up being is a wave 1 in a diagonal in the bullish scenario, right? Just so you know where we're at, and that would just drag up. It would still make nice moves, obviously, but not the impulse we're hoping for. Still potentially pretty high moves, like 300-400%, but not the big one, right? I would argue there's better options out there, but I probably will try and snipe a bottom if we get a nice 5-wave move on a 15-minute chart near this 1-to-1, bottom of the channel, that sort of thing. But as of right now, not quite interested. No divergence at all. So it's not the greatest. All right, guys, I wish I had better news on this, but I just show you again, pay attention to how new projects play out. You can see how similar it is. Literally a candle through, rejection, and it just bleeds. So you can check previous projects on this and you can see the difference. Either we get that 5th wave up, consolidate sideways, and then keep going, or we reject hard and bleed out for quite a long time. If you're really into FLR, I mean, I know when I give bad news on a coin that has a big following, I tend to get thumbs down, which is kind of funny. But I'm just trying to warn you, just be careful. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of opportunities out there. You don't have to get so obsessed with one coin, you know. It's not like I just do something like this. Potential. We'll put something like check for 5 waves. If we break that B wave level, right there, put an alarm, check for 5 waves, and then I'll put one at the low, recheck count, recheck count, and that will give me an alert on my phone and when I'm at my computer. So until one of those two things happen, I can completely ignore this coin, right? It's not going to do much. All right, guys, I wish I had better news. If you're into FLR, just be careful. I wouldn't let it run too far. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.